Any noises coming through. Yeah. All right, we're going to wait one more minute and then we're going to start. We're just sort of nearing the 4 o'clock mark here on the East Coast. I'm in New York. Adam, where are you? In Ohio. Ohio in the Midwest. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us today for this Zoominar, and welcome you and thank you for coming. I'm excited for this Meet the Miniaturist interview with Adam today. I don't remember where I first saw you, but I think it might have been on Instagram. And then I checked out your business site and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is a miniaturist and he works in theatrical stage design. I need to talk to him. So I am so glad you're here, Adam. And I'm so glad the folks out there get to meet you too. And we get to spend this time talking about our favorite topic, miniatures, and get to meet some folks out there like you who are doing some really great things. So thank you for being here today. And thank you everybody out there who's joining us. As I said, we're gonna be taking questions throughout the entire session. So please feel free to post them. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. But let's just say hello to Adam and say thank you again for joining us. And so Adam, tell us about you. Tell us about, who are you? Where are you right now? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Totally. Well, thank you for setting all this up. You've been so kind and this is so exciting. I'm so excited to see the people chatting. And I know that there's like a lot of stuff going on right now in the outside world. And so everything we're talking about today is under the part of life where you explore your passions and the part that recharges you so you can deal with all the outside stuff. But speaking of, I live and work in New York City and Brooklyn. But since all this pandemic stuff has started, I've been in with my mom in Ohio. And that's also where I've been getting to work on my hobbies as well.
Right. So, okay, so you have this theatrical background in set design.
Yes.
And you have this interest in miniatures, and those two things are combined together. So but where did it start? Where did you go to school? And what is your sort of background in terms of education?
Well, first, let me say that my last name is Koch. You didn't say it before, Adam Koch, because I know it's always like Koch, Coke, but Coke, like Diet Coke.
Right.
So you can remember. But set design, theater and stage design has been the main thrust of my life since childhood. That was an early interest in life. And of course, stage design combines so many aspects of so many different skills. Sorry, you distracted me with that picture. But I learned it. I was an early drawer, and I luckily grew up with great parents who were very supportive in the arts and took me to all kinds of plays and musicals. And as many a storyline has gone, I got bitten by the theater bug, and that became an early.
Right. So you studied set design. You studied theatrical stage design.
Yeah, no, I went to, after kind of obsessing with stage design and doing all of my high school musicals and putting together the costumes and the props and the lighting and all that kind of stuff, a recruiter from Carnegie Mellon School of Drama came and saw some silly, production of The Music Man I did and talked to me afterwards. It's like, if you really want to do this, you've got to come to Carnegie Mellon, which I hadn't heard of at the time. But, and that's why I ended up going to school. That's in Pittsburgh. And that's a great program. It's one of the oldest drama programs there is in the country. And as far as design, theater design, costumes, lighting, scenery, it's a very strong conservatory training program.
But they scouted you out for drama?
It just, that's one of those things in life that just crisscrossed in the right way at the right time. By the way, I remember the scout, he fell asleep during the show. So it wasn't like a great show. He was just saw the set and saw what he had to see, I guess.
So at some point you switched to theater, to set design as a discipline?
Well, that's, in school, maybe some people know, you can major in theater, and then as your years go on, you kind of select down into what you really want to do. So but I always knew I wanted to do set design, because it involves architecture, which I've always loved, which coordinates with what we're going to talk about too, of course. But no, I studied set design, and then just like all the, in that part of your life that you've got to kind of look at your mentors and see what they did to become what they are. Everyone I talked to said, if you want to be set designer, you got to go to school, move to New York, join the union, start working for someone else in that apprenticeship kind of portion of life, which is so exciting. And then, slowly you branch on into your own work, which is exactly what happened.
So the photograph that's up right now is actually a set that you created for.
Yes, I mean, this is a particularly kind of exciting show. I've done a series of outdoor shows down in Atlanta at this very exciting experimental outdoor theater, of which there is no permanent theater space. So every show they do is they pick an outdoor location that is works for the show, and of course, as a production designer, I work with them to scout the location. Sometimes they come up with it on their own. But this was for a musical, an old musical called Shenandoah that most people might know, but a beautiful old Civil War musical. And what you're seeing in the background is the set. I mean, part of the stage where it all happened. But of course, in the beginning, there were troops that came over the field in the background there. And then in front is me holding the little white model of that set.
Right. And I think that's, for me, that's what's so fascinating. And I think for other people who are into miniatures, the most fascinating thing about set design is the fact that you get to actually see the work you get to see it in miniature before it comes to life in full scale. What I have up here right now is just your work sketching. So that's the next question I have is really, what is your process for creating a set design?
Well, this is absolutely the beginning right here. And so this is the combination of all the things I loved to do as a kid and was naturally good at: drawing, architecture. And then, after I saw Les Mis and Phantom, I couldn't help it. You just imagine all those onstage worlds. I love doing this kind of stuff.
So does everything begin with a sketch pretty much?
Yeah. Look, there's lots of ways to design all kinds of things. I've got to do it with a pencil and just with an eraser and some paper just to kind of figure it out. Because just like maybe in miniatures, the fact that it's all in scale in front of you is how you figure it out. If it's all, if you're doing it, trying to figure it out virtually, for example, right away, there's no sense of scale on the computer. So I like to see it all in front of me. And then sketching is just fun.
Which actually brings us to the architectural model themselves, which brings the set to life, but in small scale.
Yes. Now, the thing is, Darren, you're making me realize, looking at all this, the stuff I've done as a hobbyist and a miniaturist is definitely things I've undertaken by myself. All what we're seeing now is all under the umbrella of Adam Koch Associates. So there's lots of hands at work here. I didn't build this model entirely myself at all. And, so plenty of beautiful, incredible, talented associates and assistants worked on all of this. I'm just reminded because this looks really nice. But yes, this is
really nice. What people are going to see is whether or not, this all comes to life in the miniature work that you do. We're going to show later on. I mean, so it all applies, and the work is your work at the end of the day.
But this is a color model for West Side Story, and for the minis out there, these are all 1/4 inch. Is a pretty standard scale for theatrical models.
Right. And what are they mostly made of? These models.
This is all. Oh, look, these are unlike the work in miniatures. This is all kind of just tools that are ultimately disposable. As much as work goes into them, they're just kind of beautiful artifacts that come along with the show. But it's so. And that being said, foam core, paper, glue. The thing is, nowadays, and actually in a lot of these you've seen already, the 3D printer has come into big play with accurately, beautifully printing out. I know for a fact, for example, all these railings and ladders are in there are all 3D printed because it's strong and it's clean. Otherwise, when we were in school, you glue all those things together in paper and it never quite looks right. And because ultimately it's not an heirloom quality thing. It's little just, to sell it to the producers and the director. And ultimately, I always joke, you go to the theater, by the time the show's happening, the model is discarded in the corner. So people forget it. Once the real set is on stage, they forget about the model.
But just like theater, it's just like miniatures, it's an illusion. It's all an illusion. So I actually want to show some of the other, what?
Well, this is In the Heights. And, that's it's a beautiful contemporary musical that comes all over New York City. And so it's really vibrant, and this was a colorful one.
And do any of them have lights when you present them, or no? Is the light sort of overhead?
No, well, no, this is desk lamp lighting, because the thing is, sometimes if I actually lit it how it would be seen in the show, it would be so dark that you couldn't see the model. So ultimately, you just want to present models like well generally lit, because otherwise the people who are looking at them, they can't see what's what.
Right.
And usually early on in the sketches and stuff, that like indicated the lighting and the atmosphere. And this is just like, you want to show this clearly and fully.
Right. Right. And
no, again, I mean,
is this Chicago?
this is Le Cage à Feu. There's
right.
Neon sign at the top, and this is where the other scene in the show, of course, is like the apartment, and that's where it's moments like this in stage design where I've gotten a little chance to be like a miniaturist appropriately be a miniaturist in the stage design, because the other scene in the apartment, and if anyone knows the birdcage, it's like the scene where they redress it from Act 1 to Act 2 to be for the conservative parents. And so that really was like a little cutaway room, like a room box that slid on and off, and that was maybe get those dollhouse jitters.
We do have a question. What kind of computer programs are used to create some of these maquettes? You call them maquettes?
This model, stage model. Well, look, essentially the stage model of a stage design is this essentially miniaturized versions of the color elevations and the drafting that are the full stage set. So essentially, once all those are done, we just shrink them down. This is a combination of 3D printing this big header with all the intricate cutout, and then those sides, I bet you are just color printout on board.
Right.
With a couple pieces jutting out here and there, because just like in miniatures, it just takes a few layers to make it that much more exciting.
Right. I just wanted to show them a little bit more of the process, I guess.
Look, I mean, this is all on the model making end of things, which is just the stage design and the drafting and the paperwork and everything. That's like the main workflow, and then inside of all that, you also have to make a model, just by the way. So, this is not a full comparison of the whole process, but for model making, this is what it's like. Yeah, and then as you guys know, sometimes you just smear the brush around and make it look right.
And what show is this from?
This is Chicago.
Hold on.
Chicago. Oh, and this is the same. This is also Chicago, but in process.
So in setting up some of these meetings, do you literally go through and show them all of the pieces like this? Would you say?
No. Look, no one ever saw this except Instagram, because it would be confusing for the producer to because they will never see it put in like this. So I just when this gets to the end, when it's all put together, that's what they saw. I just knew this would make a cool video, because sometimes when you're putting something together, it's just like, you want to capture it.
So where did the interest in miniatures come from? Literally, like the traditional miniatures that we talk about.
Well, look, don't you think sometimes I think the passions that naturally grip us, that's just such a mysterious part of life, and so part of it I can't explain, but since as early as I can remember, just that the enthusiasm that I feel when you look into a little scene, just like the Chicago, just like the Thorn Rooms, for example, which were a big one. I just know specifically that my family was accidentally in Chicago several times. And once you see those rooms down in that dark hallway, it's just like magic. So that, and then, you see that kind of thing as a kid, you want to run home and try to recreate that yourself, just to you're kind of copying, but kind of as a fan, you want to feel what it's going to feel like yourself or whatever.
So when did you first see the Thorn Rooms?
I don't know, probably.
How old were you?
8 or 10.
8 or 10. And did you have a traditional dollhouse growing up?
No, look, I'm a boy, so that was that at the time it shouldn't be. Just boys and dads and moms. It's it's a tricky thing. Now my parents are awesome, so they finally saw the writing on the wall, because you get a castle. I'm like, oh, it's small, but it's not residential enough, essentially, or whatever. So they broke down. Eventually, I think I got the Playmobil dollhouse, if anyone knows what that is. But that was
what's it called?
The Playmobil dollhouse.
Oh, the Playmobil. Yes. Right. So you didn't have one. So when did the introduction of traditional miniatures come into your world?
Well, the thing is, it's been an ongoing passion. An ongoing thing I've really enjoyed. Look, you're distracting me again.
Sorry. I wanted to show this. Is this a real place where you keep all of your models?
That's right over there.
Oh, wow.
Now, these are, yeah, so these are all essentially white and grayscale models that there are the leftovers from a number of shows. But you see how it's got that like room box effect where it's like a little
Yeah.
world you peer into.
Right.
Now the difference, since we're talking about it, the difference between putting a little box together like this or a room box of your own is like the one for yourself is not for work. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? So as much as your your vocational calling can satisfy many, many passions, sometimes doesn't quite satisfy all of them.
Right.
So I love all these, but that's what, why I got into the hobby side of miniatures, because I wanted to go full out.
Right. Full on. No, I get it. I get it.
I mean, to answer your
So,
question, the thing is, it was kind of a dormant passion in a way because, hey, I live in Brooklyn. My apartment's not that big. It's not like it never occurred to me to build a dollhouse or have one because of the space issues.
right.
But it was in 2017, and this is going to be touchingly somber, but I promise everyone it's inspirational. But in 2017, my dad passed away, and another subset category of everything we're talking about is like, the whole process of the mysterious process that is both, horrible and beautiful of grief.
Right.
It reveals all kinds of things if you like go through it the right way. In that mysterious way, in that period afterwards, in a way, I guess in a impulse to connect with childhood or the memory of it when our family was together or whatever, I always remembered like the childhood impulse and that like the joy that miniatures and Dollhouse brought me. So this is a long story long. I remember, and this also is like an example of entrepreneurship where you feel a hole and you fulfill it. I remember in a weird way in my grief looking on Instagram and looking at dollhouses because it was just giving me the right feeling. And I couldn't find, and I wanted to look at the miniature room or the throne rooms because that was something I always distinguishedly remember from childhood. And I couldn't find them on Instagram. And so I was like, these are so beautiful and they're so renowned that more people should see them. And so just kind of out of a need so I could see them, I started the Dollhouse Therapy Instagram page one night, and I started posting the throne rooms as like a official archive or something. I felt like an impulse to do. And of course, once you start scrolling on Instagram every day, even up to this day, I'm amazed. I mean, I'm blown away by the craftsmanship out there and the people and the different parts of, the different viewpoints on miniatures you can have, all the different styles and what people focus on. It's fascinating. Go.
But the origins of Dollhouse Therapy, and by the way, just so people know, you have this Instagram account. It's awesome. It has a really nice following. You post beautiful pictures of dollhouses, but it originated as a way for you to work through grief. Is that what that's basically?
Actually, that sounds so dramatic, but at the time it was the right, that's, I'll say if anyone knows who's lost a parent or a loved one, I mean, it's like such a bombshell of an event in life that the first thing I did, and anyone should do, is not restrict or judge any way you're feeling. You're going to feel a million different ways every day, up and down for a year, for a while.
Right.
So if one of those impulses was to like invest in that dormant passion of dollhouses, is like, you know what? I don't know what trail this is leading me down, but I'm going to do it because it feels great.
Right. And that's what it is. It feels good. And I think that's a lot of reasons why I encourage people to follow their passion. If they feel like they want to be involved in miniatures, then do it if it makes you feel good. One of the original hashtags I had when I first started being involved in miniatures was "It's okay to play," because there is a lot of sort of,
yes,
some shame, definitely if you're a boy playing with dollhouses. So, I admire the fact that you were like, I'm going to do this. This is my therapy. This is how I'm going to get through it. This is what I want to do. And it's actually at this point pretty much a service to people because you're posting stuff that they might not know that's out there. So big encouragement for people to follow this Instagram account because there's great stuff on it and you have a great eye, which is another really big point. So that's, Well,
diving further in, when it comes to like what I, following the throne rooms, other things, my other archival projects, right? My other favorite thing as a kid was the Colleen Moore house. And what was the other one? Oh, the Queen Mary's house. It's like, who doesn't want to crawl inside and live there. But other than those like big through lines, the other things I wanted to post were just things in that way you just let yourself go. It's like whatever I felt was just things that I thought were beautiful, and I wasn't trying to like judge what an audience would like or anything. It's just like a collection of things that like catch my eye. Essentially, this is where like stage design and images of miniatures really are one and the same, because it's a question of how captivating the image is and how few things or many things it takes to like hijack your brain into thinking it's something else. And that's just maybe something I naturally have an eye for, I guess.
I mean, I think you're definitely doing a service, because, you know, people out there can't follow hundreds of accounts. So I think you're really pulling together the best of the best because you have a great eye for it. So I encourage people to definitely check out Dollhouse Therapy. Let's check the questions. This is just going back one second back to the stage designs. Is there a specific one that you're most proud of? I think that's a good question.
The funny thing is, last night, a stage design I worked on was a question in Jeopardy, which was, the question was, an outdoor production of this musical set in Asia had a Huey helicopter landing nightly. And the answer is, what is Miss Saigon? And down in Atlanta, the same place where the other photo was from, a couple of years ago, we did Miss Saigon outside, and every night, if anyone knows like the ultimate moment in that show, a real helicopter landed every night and took the cast away. And it was really like quite an ordeal. But so that's just on my mind because of what happened with Jeopardy.
What year was that? What year did you do that?
2017, maybe.
So relatively recent.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. I wanted to share this photo of you and your parents. This is lovely.
Believe me, my family loves this photo. It's a good photo.
It's a great photo. So you still haven't answered the question.
Tell me.
Where did the miniatures come from? The traditional miniatures. How did we get to where we are today? How did you get here?
Okay. Well, okay. So
you didn't have a dollhouse.
I started the Instagram thing, and the thing is, as many other people may know, you can only look online, and this is in dollhouses or in life. You can only like watch other people do it for so long, and finally you're like, damn it, I want to do it for real, not just the thing. And so, I mean, I'm like a premium eBay member at this point, but I mean, I can't help but, you know, in the last couple of years, again, still being in Brooklyn without that much space, just ordering this and that and like little lights and just all under the headline of like the stuff I never had as a kid, but damn it, I'm going to have it right now in this moment. So I started, just collecting things here and there, and then you get a room box, and then you get a thing, and finally I came across, a kit that I really admired, knowing that I couldn't do it right away, because if I built that in my Brooklyn house, it would couldn't get out of the building.
So we're talking about the kit, the dollhouse we're going to share later. That's basically your first piece.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the first house, but I told you I practiced on like a room box, and
but this is your first house.
Yeah,
pretty much.
To be fair, I mean, yes, it is. And
so you went out and you found this dollhouse.
That's like Christmas Day, you know what I'm saying?
I love this photograph. You do look like a kid at Christmas time.
Well,
so
no.
Yeah.
It's a Real Good Toys kit. That's the Lincoln Springfield house, to be specific. And so I bought that years ago, and it's been under my bed and in Brooklyn, and it's only because coming to Ohio to be with my mom during the pandemic that I had the space and the garage and everything to put this thing together.
So you had this under your bed, the pandemic hits, and you're like, I'm going back home and I'm building a dollhouse.
Yeah.
But you also created a challenge for yourself too, didn't you? This was not just taking all the time in the world.
Well, the thing is, in March, April, I was in Florida, and 2 shows we had been working on, one in Miami and one in Jupiter, Florida, 2 big musicals. They were opening that week, and it's within 2 weeks, the ordinances came down, or stay-at-home stuff happened in Florida, and the shows got shut down because suddenly you couldn't have people together. Mom! Mom!
Hi, Mom! What a great moment!
Wait, private? It's still out there. I'm gonna call.
Bring her over! All
I'm
right,
getting rid
so
of a mattress that's like outside. I still have to move it.
so you had shows that were
Oh,
put
so
on
these shows
hold.
were closing, and wait, what were we talking about?
Well, you had a couple of shows in
Oh,
Florida. You had a show in Florida. I guess it was put on hold.
those were put on hold, and you know, in the world of theater, if everyone hasn't figured it out, as many industries, everyone's like shuffling and trying to figure out what we're going to do next. And so, even though we were in the middle of like 10 shows in different processes, they're all in various stages of hold or canceled or whatever. That being said, in April and March, we didn't know that it would be this long. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go home. It's it's going to be 6 weeks, and I'll have time to do this, and then we're back in New York and like back to work. And of course, it's been like 3 months later. So when I started making this, I thought I would only have a month. I was only going to be here a month, and so I was kind of pushing because I knew if I left, if I left it unfinished, it's like one of those things that would like never get done.
So you set a date that you were going to put this thing together.
Yes, and then because of the culmination of everything, I knew I wanted to share the progress eventually on Instagram.
Right.
And I was kind of careful. The thing is, it takes a lot of time to like document it's a whole other job, and so it's actually a lot of work to document and make the dang thing.
Right,
But
right.
the next one I'm doing, I'm like not documenting, I'm just like working on it, so I don't have to like worry about it. But.
Right. So this literally came out of a kit. What were some of the biggest challenges? I mean, see, there's this extensive wiring going on there.
You really fast forwarded there.
Yeah, we're going fast.
Wait, what did you ask about the?
Just like I could see that you've got this house wired. I guess one of my questions is, what are some of the challenges you faced? This is.
Well, look, the whole thing is a little daunting if you've never done the whole thing. I mean, I picked this specifically because I know real good toys. I like how thick and like solid the walls are, and so I knew it would go together right. And I like their stuff a lot. This is like the style of, aside from Victorians and all that. I thought this had a lot of like contemporary artistic or architectural kind of.
It's classic. It really is a classic.
And as far as like going together, I knew, because essentially it's just a box with those divider walls in it. And so for a first timer, that seemed like the most basic kind of like, not the most basic, but that seemed like a very accomplishable kind, as opposed to one that's got all kinds of like layers of rooms and stuff. Because I knew also as a kid, when I tried to do this by myself early on in life, I just remember always getting so frustrated keeping my arms in and trying to get it thing. So I know I wanted to put it together in a very clean, like in a scientific way, and like prepare everything and put it all together like a ship in the bottle, rather than doing it anyway.
Well, that was going to be my question. What kind of plan did you put together? Did you put anything on paper, or you winged it?
Well, believe me, as a set designer, I can't. All I wanted to do was like measure out everything and like put it together in Vectorworks or AutoCAD, because the idea of working on something without blueprints is a little crazy, but it wasn't that mysterious. But as far as planning, I mean, look, I planned this out. I really planned this out ahead of time, as far as like getting all the materials and flooring and all of that. So I had all the materials I needed, because one thing that can slow you down, obviously, is if you're like just working step to step and realizing what you need along the way, it just takes so long. So I really tried to plan ahead,
right,
and have everything I was going to need. Back to your question, definitely the most daunting, wiring. I mean, that seems, if you've never done it before, it seems like it's impossible. It's ultimately, other than planning the wiring routes, step one, the only scary thing is all you have to do is learn how to split wires and plug them together over and over again in different combinations. I mean, so the one real skill is splitting the wires. I mean, if you know what I mean.
I think it's true. I think most people are so afraid of wiring.
So easy,
and it's not to be afraid
of.
No,
you can do. I did 85% on my own with just plugs and connectors that going into each other. And then, to be fair, this is the hands of Stephen Royal, whose birthday is today, and my business partner. And he's very technically minded, very savvy in many things, and knows how to solder. And so one of the things, since we're on this, what I could never figure out is how you get the wire, like the ceiling fixture, tight to the ceiling without the cord being loose, which I knew was an option, but I didn't do that. And so essentially I needed someone to help me solder it's right together at the top, and I essentially hid the excess in a little bottle cap that's like a medallion. But this is all first timer talk. I know that the experts.
Well, that kind of question will come up. So we actually see sort of the shell coming together here. There's a lot of architectural detail. Well, what I didn't ask you is you've had a lot of inspiration growing up. You live near historic homes. So how did all of that play into the choice of this house and what you're doing here?
Well, yes, subset, passion, childhood passion, big, beautiful, historic homes just really take over my imagination, especially ones, if you know what I mean, where you can't figure out the floor plan from outside. It's really regular.
Right.
I just love, houses are just amazing. And so I mean, so part of this, Dollhouse is definitely like the aspirational part of dreaming, which is just like a big, beautiful house. It feels like childhood somehow.
Right.
Oh, this is twisting little wires together.
That door. I still find it hard to believe that this is actually from a kit. That door came from a kit.
And it came like,
I mean, that's a really awesome door. You would not expect to come from a Dollhouse kit.
Well, because it's based on, this particular kit is based on Lincoln's actual home in Springfield, Illinois. And I think they essentially went and surveyed as much of it as possible. And so this, I think, knowing and trying to be helpful, they pre-assembled this little bit. You have to take out the door and the panel, the windows to do them separately, but those go back in.
And is it MDF or plywood or both?
It was all wood. This piece is all wood.
Hardwood. Plywood. That's pretty great. So it's a pretty heavy. It's heavy. So we don't. What kind of tools did you need to do this? And what are your favorite tools to use? That came from one of the questions, by the way.
Oh my gosh, tool list is extensive, I guess. Just like
what's the must-have? What's like one or two must-have tools?
Well, I don't. I'm thinking sandpaper.
Sandpaper.
No, that's silly.
Oh.
I'm
gullible.
The gel stain, the Minwax gel stain I used for the floor, that was very user friendly. I don't like turpentine and oil-based things, and so that's like a good water-based kind of thing. But that being said, tools. Everyone can figure out what tools you need because there's so many resources out there. But I would say my biggest suggestion would be starting with the right materials makes whatever tools you're using easy to use. For instance, like when you're a kid and trying to be experimenting with what to use for flooring, it's always like warping and this and that. It's like just if you're able, buying like nice like hardwood flooring really makes a difference because it just lays there flat as a pancake. And it really makes a difference about, how easy.
That's the next question. Your interior design is pretty awesome. So are those all hardwood floors? How did you create the floors?
Those are, again, premium eBay member. I found cherry, little hardwood flooring. And I think at some point, if I ever posted a posting about this, I mentioned who made it because I'm trying to.
Were they sheets?
No, they're individual pieces. Stain them individually, and then you lay them in there. And actually, the little packet that came in had like a suggestion of like a basic floorboard pattern. Of course, they don't know the size of your room, but it was a good template. I laid out like marker lines on a table of like various cut lines to make, and I just cut them. You build, it's like a puzzle right. That goes in order a couple times. And
a couple of things I love the fact that you stained the stair treads. You don't often see that.
Well, don't you think like in a house that I really admire, the treads are always dark, and it's just.
I know, but you don't always see that detail. Usually, they're all painted white or painted the same color. It makes a huge difference. I love the red room. Is there like a red border happening on the flooring?
This is such a stage design thing because when you're working in the round or in a thrust theater, you always have to help the eye know where to focus on the floor, as is the history of floor design in interior decor. But here there's I did another hardwood piece that just painted red essentially and made like an inset little like floor border.
It's a great touch. And I also see lots of wainscoting on the second floor. Is that right?
In the middle room, there's like a
pretty high, which is a nice design choice.
I always wanted that in my house, so I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna do it. No, but those are, to be fair, those are popsicle sticks or the vertical like little boards.
Wow.
The attic floor is popsicle sticks.
And I also see another border on the first floor that's a different stain than the rest, which is really nice.
Look, I just got the dark stain and the medium stain, I just, flip-flopped it.
There's the red room also, which has that awesome paneled walls.
Red, little chinois. It just goes together. It's another childhood fantasy coming true.
And those are also strip wood, hardwood. What is that?
Yeah, that same little hardwood flooring, cherry. I think it's cherry wood.
All right, it's just awesome. So I think we're going to get a chance to. Oh, there's a little bit more of the interior, right?
That's right. The thing is, so with all the things going on this week, I wasn't really in the mood to like post a bunch because it's just been so strange. But this is so I haven't. No one's seen these. You're the first to see these.
Well, that's one of the questions that came from from the questions are, what would you recommend in terms of a good dollhouse kit? You said this was Real Good Toys.
Real Good Toys. Look, I think they make really solid, beefy houses. It doesn't have that flimsy feel.
So we're actually going to get a chance to see this beautiful.
There it is.
Piece. Is that right? Are we going to actually get to see it in real life?
Do you want to see it?
We'd love to see it.
Hold on. Lighting's going to get different.
That's awesome.
Okay, so.
I love the brackets. I don't know what you call them.
Corbels?
The pieces on the top, the molding. Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the garage, y'all.
It really is beautiful. And there's an addition too, right?
That's a kit from the same company that's not meant to go with this house, but you hack it a little,
Right. It's beautiful. I love the color scheme. It is a gray on gray. What would you say the colors are?
Look, I always wanted a house like this. I love a tone on tone.
Tone on tone.
I call it Eeyore gray on light Eeyore gray.
Wow. What did it say with that again? What gray?
Eeyore gray.
Eeyore?
Like from Winnie the Pooh. I'm just joking, Darren.
I don't know. And then what are those brackets on the top, on the outside? I'm sorry, I know you're on the inside.
No, look, I'll go back. I'm getting
that's just personal. I love that detail.
I know, I thought that had made it look like a legitimate kind of...
Well, when I first saw this online, when I first saw that you were doing this, I really thought this was a custom build. Because you don't see that detail on a dollhouse today. It's beautiful. And then I know you also spent a fair amount of time getting all of those, what are we looking at? Oh, going for a ride.
Backyard.
You spent a fair amount of time getting the shingles done.
Well, as everyone who's dived into one of these has figured out, if you choose to do it, the floors and the shingles, there's no other way to do it but like piece by piece.
Right. I've been advised that they're called corbels.
Corbels. There we go.
That's right. Well, it's really a beautiful, beautiful piece, and I can't believe it took you only 31 days to do. Hold on. It's really beautiful. So what do you plan to do with this house?
Well, the thing is, just like in stage design, when you've only done one show, it's so precious, and you're like, I can never do anything else again. But my hope is if I do a couple more, this will be a little less precious to me. I can sell it or something, but I don't know. I mean, right now it's like I go to sleep with it. So I'm still in like the close period, but once I do another one.
It looks like you're starting to furnish it even. I mean, are you?
Well, look, you guys, this has been a whole other thing because I came here and under the guise of only being here for a few weeks. So like a miniature Beverly Hillbillies, I packed a few furnishings, knowing that I was going to build the house and I would need a few things just to stage it to make it look good. But no, I got the bare essentials just to kind of spruce it up. But no, I'm definitely, always on the hunt for that kind of thing.
Well, begs the question, there's a little bit more of the detail of the house. I just want to also acknowledge, the photography is really good too. And I think that's what helps bring the work to life is that, this is a beautiful photograph. You would never know this is a dollhouse, which is, testament to the work of the dollhouse, but also the photograph, which, I love how you put the trees in the back. It's just beautiful.
Well, look, you take it outside, it's instant because there's nature behind it.
Right, but you set it up really nicely, and it looks great.
That's just sunlight.
So it begs the question, I love this photograph too. Who's that little guy? Is that your dog?
That's Landy. She's my little dog.
Well, that begs the question, what's next for you?
Okay, look. So it's like an addiction. So as soon as the day I finished this thing, I was like, okay, I've got to rehab something because I know I can get my hands on it locally. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and saw this fixer-upper essentially. So I just got it for no money, and I'm going to tear it apart and redo it and see where that goes.
So this is your next project. Have you started working on this yet?
Oh, no. Come on, yes. Here, look.
No.
No, that's it now.
Oh, you took it apart?
Oh, I've got you. You can't just. I'm gonna really do it. Not just.
My head has just exploded.
I'm like adding windows and building. I mean, it's not. Look at it. It's not.
Are you? Oh man, I did not know that. That's awesome. So, are you going to document this as well?
That's the thing. That's what I was saying before. It takes so much concentration to document along the way, because you got to remember, because you just speed past. So I've been like lightly taking photos along the way, but not as thorough as the first time, if that's okay.
So that means we're going to have you back when this is done to show us.
The thing is, maybe other people have been feeling this, but it's been a couple months of watching like a lot of HGTV, and it's like, gosh, I want to flip a house. It looks so fun.
Yeah.
1-inch scale will be manageable.
Yeah. We have a whole bunch of questions coming through. The garage looks like a workshop, which it does. That's actually where you were working, correct?
This is the garage of my mom's house. And yeah, that's where I'm working.
So this is a good question. Do you have a project that's on your bucket list?
You mean as
like if there, yeah.
Or is there
even after this is done, is there something you want to do?
You mean as a miniaturist or as a set designer?
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is a general question about a project that is on your list.
Well, look. Look, this was like a new kit build, which I thought would be a safe, easy way to like dive into all this. Now I'm doing like the rehab thing, which is like, if anyone's seen the movie The Money Pit, I mean, rehabbing something that's old is maybe twice as hard as like just starting something new. So I'm excited to see where that goes, because if that turns into a lot of fun, then all I see in my miniature interneting is like dolls all over the world that need like rehabbing and coming back to life, because they're still good. They just need to be updated. I mean, seriously updated and passed on.
Brenna wants to know, are you making blueprints for this one?
That's a great question. I did make blueprints of this because the design remodels I'm planning to do are so specific that I want to like lay it out. And I took it apart and measured each piece, and now I do have it drafted out in Vectorworks. This has a kind of a roadmap.
So you say that again? You have it in what? In Vector?
Well, if anyone has heard of AutoCAD or Vectorworks, those are like the computer drafting programs that architects and we set designers use. And so I essentially just made blueprints of this remodel house.
Oh, so you've already done that too. Oh my gosh. You're changing the whole, you're resetting the standard on building a dollhouse. That's awesome.
Seriously, look, I fully recognize that I have the chance to be here in Ohio and be safe and out of harm's way so far. So this is all under the guise of being able to do this. But I understand there's lots of people who can't.
That's really great. All right, let's take one more question.
I didn't show you the inside, y'all. Come on.
We're gonna see inside. And by the way, you guys who haven't told us where you're from, go ahead and click in the chat bar where you are zooming in from. Would love to know where you are calling in from. What country, what state. And, what are we seeing now? I'm sorry. We didn't see the inside. It looks like it's almost all done.
Well, I told you I had a few things, and I can't help but buying a few things here and there.
That's fantastic. It really is. It really is. What are some of your favorite? I have a question. I'm going to raise my hand.
Yeah, Darren.
Who are some, oh, by the way, let me just acknowledge we got some folks from Canada. Hi, Joanne from Canada. We got New Jersey. Woohoo! Elliott City, Beverly from Chicago, Philly. Awesome. Wait, so my question is I guess we can only talk about this house, but what's your favorite interior piece? Do you have a favorite miniature that's in that house? I love the couches. Where did those come from? The sofas.
Wait, I'll look at those.
I know. They're very modern, which I love. I love the contrast.
Look, this is, you all can help me if anyone can recognize these. My personal style, I could come home to every day is this kind of thing.
Not shaker. Shaker? Shaker-ish.
I love that kind of thing.
Beautiful.
This is what you were asking about. And the thing is, someone will know what this is, and I forget the name.
Best Pack?
There's 3, and it came in with other pieces.
But is it Best Pack, maybe?
No. Oh, it says JBM.
JBM. Awesome. We like JBM. So I guess my other question was going to be, do you have a favorite miniaturist that you follow? Oh, yeah. Love it. Those are JBM makes high quality miniatures at affordable prices. I mean, they're still pretty pricey. Oh, someone's telling us that rocker is sticky style. Or stickly?
Stickly, yeah, that makes sense.
Nice. Very nice. Thanks, Kathleen. And the Chase. That was JB. Yeah, I love JBM. I think they do really, really nice designs. Very nice proportions. Very good details. And again, not super expensive. It's not, they're manufactured pieces, but
you got to
really good.
What? Yeah.
What's that?
You got to save up no matter what.
You still have to save up. So that was my other question is, do you have a favorite miniaturist that you follow?
No, I said this before, but every day I'm blown away because every day you think that you've seen everything, and then there's a whole other page. It's like, wow, where did that come from? Where does this skill and talent come from? Some people have such.
Yeah,
it's incredible. No, I don't have a favorite. I am an enthusiast for it all.
There is a miniaturist, and I see him at the shows all the time, and I can't think of his name right now. If somebody is in that chat bar, who knows, that does a lot of the style of the furniture that you like. He's an older gentleman. He's at all the shows every year. I think he lives in San Francisco. I will find his name and send you his name because I think you'll have a new favorite miniaturist.
Okay. No, I'm always blown away.
I think thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. I mean, it was just great to get the perspective from professional set designer, how that translates over to the work in miniatures and Dollhouse. It just all comes together so beautifully. No,
it's been a joy of my life so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to have you here today. I really, really thank you for being here. Yeah, we look forward to seeing more and more of your stuff and following you on Instagram and seeing your work continue.
Absolutely. Please, anybody reach out anytime.
Yeah. So until next time, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Adam, for being here today. And we'll see everybody at the next time. All right. Bye.